What if you could draw like a master in just one step? What would that step be?
Hi, David F. Starr here, artist, author, and your favorite internet art professor.
The step itself is observe, but observe with intention. All of us that are sighted can see things, but master artists from Raphael and Da Vinci to Kim Jong-gi and Murata observe with intention of making a masterpiece drawing. What lines would make that shape? How do I simplify that form and give it the proper volume? How could I make those lines look like the thing I'm looking at with volume and lighting? The main drawing we're going to work on is on paper. So this was just a practice warm-up. Let's go ahead and get out a fresh sheet of paper and start our new drawing. So Raphael was maybe one of the best portrait artists, especially for females of the Renaissance. He is also a Ninja Turtle. Is not my favorite Ninja Turtle, might be my least favorite Ninja Turtle. And let's get started recreating this. So how do we skip the line on all this training? We can make our observations of how they simplified and start by copying them. You may find this to be cheating, but this is the practice that was done all through the Renaissance period and going through all ateliers to this day. You can even see on the drawing that Raphael did here, he actually made this from copies. See those dots? Those are him placing notes from other drawings from the back of them to compose this cartoon. But today, we're going to start by recreating an entire drawing from a masterpiece. So you can see in this drawing the cross-hatching and the line work, how he's sculpting out the forms and simplifying structures to give them reference. As you can see, I already pulled this image in on an iPad and I went through and traced out each line to just observe and really build in your mind. If you have an iPad, that'd be fantastic to be able to do this just as a practice to get used to what sort of line works, what sort of hatching, cross-hatching, sculpting they do to find the form and to fill it out, to get used to where they're making marks so you can apply the same principles. I'm switching over for a little more detail with a mechanical pencil that has some thicker strokes, and then to just hash in some more detail, going with a mechanical pencil here. Notice how the line thickens, gets darker as the shape ends up transitioning what will be the deepest turn. So the curve around the chin turns all the way around, and he's representing that with multiple lines and a deeper thickness, and then around the brow of the left eye really helps accentuate that curve, and it makes you feel like there's volume there. But you also have that reflected light bouncing off there. So go through and find the portions of your actual drawing, your reference drawing. Try to build those, make sure you're keeping the right angles. Always be looking back. Each time you want to go make a mark, you want to be transferring something you just saw and are envisioning for your drawing from the other one. Now let's take a look and see where it's failing. Obviously the modeling of the paper helps with kind of deepening the quality of this drawing. That nice toned surface is fun to work on. You can absolutely do that and draw from a toned surface as well. But that's not what we're doing here. So we can get a similar effect by applying some smudging, but we're gonna just kind of ignore those spots. And in here you can really see the details of those little dot points that were put on there that were him helping trace out this cartoon from other studies that he had done for this finished drawing that he's putting together. For on this piece, I think we were able to curve out and sculpt out the shape of the eyes, much like Raphael had done. You can see the line work that's going on the actual eye itself, helping move that shape, bend it for on the whites of the eye as well. We're going to go back in and we can add a little more detail onto here though and tighten that up. There is a beautiful efficiency of mark making that he has with his drawing that we are lacking here. We could tweak this forever, but this is a study. I'm trying to crank it out here in about 40 minutes and playing back around with a little smudging and then a little mark making back on top of that really helps give some subtlety to turning those shapes. So there you have it. Here we've completed a recreation of a masterpiece drawing. And as you can see, this would be a lot better than if I was just drawing from off the top of my head. But when we can take those lessons that the masters have left us, we can recreate something great quickly. So I've got a link to this image below. I'd love to see your recreation, and I'll give it a critique and see how we can get better at observing and recreating what we see. But for our next drawing, we're going to be doing a drawing of a follower in the style of Raphael. So we'll pick an image that they have of this image itself, and we're going to recreate it with the same sort of mark making and maybe a little bit more finessing care than what I did here, and see if we can't make a masterpiece just through observation. So there you have it. Here's a recreation of Raphael's Study for a Muse. Now, go ahead and try right now with the same drawing. I put a link in the comments below and let me know what it ended up looking like. I'll give feedback on everyone's drawing that comments. And remember, happy creating.